Welcome to our podcast from the ground up, where we interview startup founders exploring their journeys, their successes, challenges, and lessons learned. We hope you be inspired in discovering what it takes to build a thriving startup. I'm your host, Jake Aaron Villarreal, and here with us today we have Dawson Chen, the CEO and co-founder of Martin, a company that was funded by Y Combinator and others, and we'll dive in here. Dawson, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks so much for having me. It's really good to be here. And love to chat about AI and Martin and everything else exciting that's going on.
Great. So a little bit about Dawson. Dawson went to the Harker School, a nonprofit K through 12 private school in Silicon Valley that's earned international recognition for its top academics. He then went on to Yale, where he dropped out to build his startup Martin with co-founders from MIT and Carnegie Mellon. Dawson, I love your background. When we talk to investors, and we invest in companies too, it's not always about the problem you're solving. Sometimes it's about the team that you've built. How did you and your founders meet each other?
Yeah, I think that's totally fair point. And I think at an early stage startup, it totally is all about the team. We met in middle school, actually, in sixth grade. I think we built like our first software projects together. So me and Harsh, my MIT co-founder, we built like a Wheel of Fortune app, I think during spring break, like in middle school. And Arjun and I also worked on the same like school development team. And we built like this college counseling meeting scheduler app for like all of our students and admin to use at school. So we've been building like actually websites and apps together as a team for a long time. And that's how we met. We met like hacking together at school, and growing up over the years, we've also like worked on some slightly more formal businesses. Like Harsh and I, we started this company to give like one-on-one campus tours at our universities, and it was like a marketplace, like Airbnb, but for campus tours. So we did that for a year, like in freshman year, and Arjun and I also did a nonprofit in high school to find jobs for the homeless people in San Jose. And so
Wow.
we've had a lot of shared experiences together.
That's amazing. You know, you're one of the younger interviews we're having, which is, you're not 20 quite yet, but it sounds like you've got, 8+ years of already development and building products and, working on startups. Maybe they weren't defined as a startup back then, maybe products or projects, but really a lot of background, a lot of experience. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're not just going to talk to you about your company and the product you're building and the problem it's solving, and we'll get to that. But we're also going to see it in action and experience that, and hopefully our listeners can see what that's like too. Before we get there, talk to me a little bit about your product, Martin. What inspired you to build it? And when you put your thesis together in the AI space, where do you fit and what problem are you trying to solve?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So Martin is a personal voice AI. So it's like a way better Siri with an LLM brain. And like Siri and Alexa, they've all been like a long list of if statements, and it's like really robotic sort of like voice interface over existing apps, pulling up existing apps. But what Martin is trying to do is make an actual intelligent like AI personal companion and assistant, which gets to know you and speaks to you just like a human. And so we're thinking that like as a whole new user interface, voice is going to be like the way that people interface with a lot of technology on their phones. And we're building like the smoothest interaction layer with Martin. So yeah, I'm happy to demo the app whenever ready.
Cool. All right, we'll get in that in just a minute here. As a product, is it focused on the individual as a consumer? Is that who your market is? Is there a bigger view for the enterprise? Are you looking as this being, a companion for companies to provide for their employees? What's the sort of big picture for your product?
Yeah, so far we've been going B2C. We built an app that's on the App Store now. But of course, like in the future, there are a lot of big opportunities B2B as well. And a main one, not quite as a companion for enterprises, but a lot of other companies want to have voice assistants baked into their applications. And whether that's like an app that teaches you a new language, or like an app that trains you at doing like interviews or sales calls or whatever. Like a lot of these apps also need voice components, and if we built the best interface, like that's way better technology than all the other interfaces, then we can also open up our technology, whether it's like as an API or as a service, for other companies to leverage as well. So we're building like the core technology, which starts as a consumer app, but definitely can grow and expand into a lot more use cases, B2B as well.
AI's got so many different areas that it's helping improve how companies operate and how tasks are automated. Where do you fit in there in terms of the competition landscape? Are there other products that are currently visible to you now where you're seeing that you're trying to grab market share and racing to, you know, to the finish line? Where do you fit in, and how fast do you need to move with AI seeming to be developed in almost every aspect of technology these days?
Yeah, there are a lot of AI assistants. Obviously, like there's one like for every like persona, and there are a bunch of different formats that they can be in. Uh, the way that we've approached it is getting the interaction, the user interface layer, down to be like the most natural and seamless possible, which is like a really really hard technical problem. Which we think as we're nailing it, it'll give us a huge lead and a huge barrier. And that interaction layer, as of now, is like smooth voice interactions. And it's not so simple as like the way Siri has done it, or Alexa has done it, or even like voice GPT. The way we're doing it is it allows you to basically speak with Martin like supposedly as natural as you would to a human, which means it should know when exactly you're done talking, and it should allow you to interrupt him. And when you interrupt him, he doesn't just like freeze up, but he actually reacts to the interruption, and it's all done in real time with really low latency. So you can have like a really smooth interaction with whatever like assistant task you want it to do, or even have a productive discussion or brainstorming session with him.
Great. Well, Dawson, let's dive in. Let's see how it works.
Okay, cool. So it's on your phone, the Martin app, and it's on my action button. So I can just open it like this. Hey, Martin, how's it going?
Hey Dawson, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty
Anything
good.
new and exciting happening?
I'm on a podcast with Jake right now where we're talking about you, Martin, the voice AI, and I'm giving a demo right now
That
to all
sounds
our
exciting.
viewers.
That's awesome. Dawson, I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and that you're showcasing me on your podcast. It's always exciting to share the wonders of AI with others. How's the demo going so far? Is there anything specific you want?
It's going pretty well. Let's see. What I want you to show off some of your capabilities. Why don't you like? Yeah. What do you do, Martin?
That's great to hear, Dawson. I'm glad the demo is going well so far. As for what I do, well, I'm here to assist you with various tasks and provide information. I can help you with things like searching the web, getting news updates, checking the weather, setting reminders, and much more. Just let me know what you need, and I'll do my best to assist you. Is there anything specific you'd like me to demonstrate for your viewers?
Let's just say like for Thanksgiving, I'm trying to cook a dish, like a new dish, something like innovative. Can you suggest some things that been like maybe trending recently? Maybe something with that's not turkey.
Got it. It seems like you're interested in exploring my capabilities related to food and cuisine. Well, I can definitely help you with that. Whether you're looking for Mediterranean, Japanese, Mexican, Thai, or Italian cuisine, I can provide recommendations for specific dishes or even suggest popular restaurants in your area.
Okay, yeah, Martin. I'm more thinking like to cook like an easier, like let's say traditional dish, like just a normal Thanksgiving meal. What would you suggest?
I see. You're interested in cooking a traditional Thanksgiving meal. That's a great idea. Cooking can be a fun and rewarding experience. For a classic Thanksgiving meal, you can't go wrong with a roasted turkey as the centerpiece. It's a timeless and traditional choice. To complement the turkey,
Yeah, I don't. I'm not really thinking of turkey this Thanksgiving. Why don't you find me like 5 recipes that don't have turkey and send them to my email?
Give me a second. Sending notes to your email. Hey Dawson, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? Anything new and exciting happening in your world?
Martin, did you send them to my email? Martin, did you send the notes to my email?
Yes, Dawson, I sent the notes to your email. You should receive them shortly. Let me know if you have any other questions or if there's anything else I can assist you with.
Okay, I can share the email.
Yeah, that's cool. The response rate's very quick.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Okay. These notes aren't very. I don't know why it gave something else. Let me ask it one more time. Martin, can you send me 5 recipes of non-turkey Thanksgiving dishes to my email?
Sending notes to your email. I've sent the 5 recipes of non-turkey Thanksgiving dishes to your email. You should receive them shortly.
Okay. Ah, shoot. Okay. I think there's a small bug with the email sender. It's sending like not the right. Martin, can you send me 5 recipes related to like Thanksgiving dishes?
Give me a second. I'm on it. Sure. Here are 5 recipes for non-turkey Thanksgiving dishes. 1.
Okay, send those to my
20
email.
Thanksgiving. Sending notes to your email. I've sent the recipes to your email.
Okay, now it should work. Okay, here it is. So I don't know if you can see, but
Yeah, I could see.
the recipes, and he attaches the links with them as well. And so those are like some really basic functionalities. Basically, he can retrieve information. He can go into websites and get information from there, and then talk to you about them. And then he can also send some notes to your email, and also set some reminders. And so those are like the very basic features. We've sort of focused on nailing the interface of the smooth voice interactions, and over time we're going to add more and more functionalities.
Got it. That's really cool. If I was to ask it something, could it respond as well?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We should try that.
Yeah, let's try this. And I'll have them send them, I don't know, send them to your email. But but more than anything, I'd love to just ask some topic questions that are coming to my mind.
Okay. Let's do that. Hey, Martin. I told you I'm on this podcast with Jake. Why don't you actually talk to Jake a little bit? He'd be really excited to meet you.
Sounds it. Hey, Dawson. That's awesome that you're on a podcast with Jake. I'd love to chat with him. Could you introduce him?
Martin, my name is Jake. Nice to meet you. I live in Laguna Beach, but I've recently heard about Mammoth ski resort, and I'm thinking about going there. What's a good place to stay if I was to go?
Hey, Jake. Nice to meet you too. Mammoth Mountain is a fantastic ski resort with some incredible slopes. If you're looking for a place to stay, I would recommend checking out the Village Lodge. It's located right at the base of the mountain and offers convenient access to the ski lifts. Plus, it has a cozy and welcoming atmosphere. Another great option is the Westin Monache Resort, which offers beautiful accommodations and is just a short distance from the slopes. Okay, Jake, if you're looking for a place to stay in Mammoth, I would recommend checking out the Village Lodge. It's located right at the base of the mountain and offers convenient access to the ski lifts.
Stop.
Martin, I have another question. I haven't driven there before. How would I get there from Laguna Beach, and how long will it take me?
Let me see what I can find. To get from Laguna Beach to Mammoth Mountain.
Keep going.
To get from Laguna Beach to Mammoth Mountain, you have a few options. You can drive, which is approximately a 6-hour journey covering It's about 347.2 miles from Laguna Beach to Mammoth Mountain, and the drive takes approximately 6 hours and 12 minutes. However, there are also other options available, such as taking a bus or a train. Let me know if you'd like more information on those options.
A train? I didn't know there was a train. Where do I get that?
Let's take a look. I apologize for the confusion, but it seems that there is no direct train service from Laguna Beach to Mammoth Mountain.
I appreciate that, Martin. You're being honest with me. Okay. Well, I really thank you for your time. If I was...
Jake, I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble understanding.
He's a little too fast today. I think there's a recent update which made him like really, really fast.
Oh, I see. It sounds like there was an update that made him super fast.
Made you super fast, Martin. You're like answering super fast.
Thank you, Dawson. I try my best to keep up and provide speedy responses. It's all thanks to the recent update that made me a little faster. Is there anything else I can help you with?
I think that's been really helpful. I guess lastly, if I wanted to go, what type of weather would I be getting if I went this weekend to Mammoth?
Let me check the weather for you. I apologize, but it seems that I'm currently unable to retrieve the weather information for Mammoth Mountain.
I think our weather API is down. That's why it tries 3 different times. But
okay.
Martin, do you know the weather?
Let me check the weather for you.
Yeah, I think the weather API is down.
Yeah, got it. Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah, and on the app, there are also some prompts for things that he's suggesting that you could talk about. And other parts of the app are like you can have a sentry mode, which is basically where he just listens in on a conversation and he doesn't respond. He just listens. It's sort of like for brainstorming sessions or for like having him listen in on a meeting. You can have him just like sit here and he won't respond unless you say his name. Martin, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Dawson. Martin is designed to listen and provide assistance when you specifically address him by name.
Okay, goodbye,
So,
Martin.
if you need...
Now he goes back to like listening mode. So this is
Yeah.
another feature that some people find really useful.
So if Martin was to listen to our whole podcast, could he come back and say, here's the 5 topics that I think are really interesting, or that type of insight?
Yeah, exactly. That would be like the main like utility of like this the purple mode we've designed for like usually when people sit in on a meeting, not only do they want to take notes, but they want someone who they can bounce ideas off of at the end of the meeting or remember things and go back to certain topics. So it's really helpful for like brainstorming sessions and sort of like open meeting with several people.
Cool. Okay. Do you want to do the demo again? Do you feel like that's good, like how it was, or do you want to go ahead and...
We can like I don't know if it'll be any better like if we try it again.
Yeah.
Maybe certain parts of it you could cut out. Like
Yeah.
if it repeated the same thing, you can just like cut out the second time.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Cool.
the weather,
We'll clean it
maybe
up.
just ignore the weather part.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We'll clean it up. Okay. No big deal. All right. That's fascinating. By the way, I love the fact that the response is very quick because it's programmed, I guess, for you as Dawson. It just seemed like it was almost like from I don't know, like a science fiction movie or something. That's like the robot that's giving you insights and intelligence about
Right.
how you operate or things you should think about, or maybe reminders that you're not remembering. And so if it's got notifications, if it's it's got the ability to help you just do your work better or just live your life more organized, I think that's really cool. I don't know if a lot of people are actually using as much of those AIs today, which I think are coming.
For sure, for sure. And you know, our vision for this app was basically to have it like really be a personal AI for you. So it really gets to know you over time, has really good memory, and it's always there like really quickly, and as smooth as like a human assistant to interact with. So
Yeah.
that's really the dream, and we're seeing more people adopt it for different use cases in the early days, and it's just sort of like a proof of concept for the interaction layer. Yeah,
That's really cool. So you can find it on the App Store. What's the, feel free to share this information or not, if whatever you feel comfortable. How many downloads are you at today? Or is it just getting in the market? Have you started really marketing it yet? Kind of where you're at there.
yeah, we just started like launching it like about a week ago.
Okay.
And so like since then we've gotten a few thousand downloads and
Okay.
yeah, a few thousand downloads and like a few hundred users that are like really active coming back. So really early in like the finding our market stage, and mostly we're using these like early users to really tune the retention and like what really sticks about this app. So a lot of learning in the early days before we really push like the lever and try to advertise it like a lot.
Yeah, makes total sense. You know, you've got a really good idea. I love what you're building. You're younger in the journey than other companies that have raised, Series A, B, C rounds. What's something that you didn't think about before you went into Y Combinator that has really been good advice as you continue to launch your product into the market?
I didn't think about before. I think like the hardest part for us as a consumer app is like unlike a B2B service or like a SaaS company, you can't like learn exactly what to build for mid users like, directly. So we had to find like a lot of different ways to like get user feedback and use those to synthesize new designs. And that's been really tricky for us. And I think there isn't a lot of like advice or wisdom out there for that because it takes a lot of creativity. Just for example, like it's hard to communicate with our users actually, like especially our power users. like they don't necessarily like are like super willing to engage, because they're not all from like the technology like industry, and they're not used to like their personal AI companion that they're talking to being like having a company behind them. So we have to find ways to like get feedback from them in the app and like use that feedback to, and like our own usage of the app and our own friends' usage of the app to like really design new features. And I think collecting user feedback from a consumer app is something that's harder than we expected for sure.
Yeah. Getting into Yale is a huge accomplishment, first and foremost, but then deciding to drop out to build this, what was your level of confidence knowing that you felt like I have something here that I really need to go after?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, this summer when my co-founders and I got together, we actually applied to Y Combinator with a different idea. We were doing like a customer service chatbot for grocery stores. So you walk into a Whole Foods and you scan a QR code and you ask like where are the carrots and like how much can I buy with like $5 or something, and that like customer service agent will lead you around the store and like and tell you things, but it's basically just like a QR code on the wall. So we were doing that idea, and like that's what motivated us to do Y Combinator and like actually do a startup. And I think the main motivator for us has always been like the three of us as a team, and like we're all here together at the right time during like a huge wave of LLM apps, and like for us, we're like a really good three-person team that also happens to have a lot of background in AI, and it's finally like our time to build something, and we're just like so excited that we can't wait any longer. So we started not because of like one particular idea, but simply because of like the three of us as a founding team.
Yeah. And you're all the same age?
Yeah, we're same age.
Yeah. It's probably a tough conversation with your parents. I mean, they spent a lot of, time invested in getting their kids to a point where college is the dream for a lot of parents. And then you come back and say, I made it to college, but I'm going to take some time off and drop out. Now, obviously you can go back and finish your degrees, but how supportive are your parents in this process?
They're all relatively supportive because they're all from Silicon Valley. Like we all grew up here, so they're all like either at startups or like mid-sized companies or big companies, and they all sort of understand, and they understand that like it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and like the three of us being together, being at Y Combinator, all of these things are like more than we can wish for as like 19-year-olds. So they're pretty supportive, and like my parents are both working on a startup, so for them it's like um, we don't have to pay tuition. You're like you can think of yourself, like that's great for us.
That's great. Really cool. Yeah, I think if you have if your parents are currently in startups or have been part of Silicon Valley, they understand the risks and the pros and the cons. What's the advantage you feel as a 19-year-old that you have versus others that are more established in business that might start a company in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s? What advantage do you have as being sort of earlier on in your life to build something?
I think one big thing is we're really flexible, both when it comes to product design and also when it comes to just technology. We're all like AI researchers. We've all done AI research, but in like really different domains. So we're like really used to like switching lanes and like learning new technology really fast. So I think just like purely in terms of implementation, we can move really really fast, faster than a lot of like veterans at old companies. And then for product, I think because we don't have like any like pre-existing experience in an industry for a long time, we're also really good with designing consumer products because that's we don't have any biases, and we have had some experiences like designing but in general, I think when you're so like inexperienced in any like particular space, you end up being able to dream of like different consumer paths a lot easier because you're more flexible. And that plus our execution and speed does make it give us that advantage, I think. And like the speed also just comes with like us not having many obligations and being able to just like work really hard with like few other considerations like in our daily lives. I guess no obligations. We can just work all the time.
24 hours a day. I love it. What's if you look at, Silicon Valley and a lot of the big companies around, it seems like they're going after younger and younger talent, the big companies. Have you been approached by, Google or Meta or any big companies that kind of have an understanding of who you are and are maybe have seen or heard about you, that have tried to reach out and recruit you or anything like that happen yet?
I think it's pretty early for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty early for that, I think.
So haven't got that yet. That's great. Cool. As a company, you got seed funding. How many are you today?
Just the three of us. So we have no employees, just co-founders.
Okay. And coming through COVID, like everyone has done, um, what's the impact of that, if at all, of your view on remote work versus on site? And do you believe that you need to be as a team in a building to really develop, or what's your mindset around that? Just curious.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say as much as you can, you should obviously like optimize for being in the same building. Like we all prioritize like living together. Like from when we got into YC, we decided like, okay, let's move into our own space. So like I think you're as co-founders, you have to have like like infinite opportunities to like talk to each other throughout the day, and like you should never have the friction of like, okay, let's set up a meeting to do this, at least in the early days, because things are moving so fast. Like, yeah, like you learn everything, you learn things every day, and you want to share those with your co-founders and brainstorm new ideas like with very little friction. So, and then as an early stage startup, I think you should really live together. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, remote work. I don't know. I don't have that much experience in it. I mean, during high school, we had school remote for like 1.5, 2 years. Um, I would say, yeah, I generally prefer being in person. I think I really prioritize like the face to face interactions, like if possible. And when you're working so closely with someone, especially at an early stage company, I think every moment of like exchanging your thoughts and your feelings is like should be optimized for.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of debate around on-site versus off-site or remote versus collaboration together. Mainly for people that have been in the industry for quite some time, and they saw the difference between what you have when you need to be in an office. It might not be your company, so you're just an employee, and the trade-off of working with your family and your kids, and sort of more established. It's I think some got the experience of what it could be like not having to be in an office every day, and they really liked it. And others, I think more earlier stage, yeah, there's a lot of innovation that you might lose, or speed of
Yeah.
collaboration, with ideas that can kind of be lost if you're remote, from what we hear. But that's great. Yeah, I think that's really, I think you're in a great position to really build what you want. And if you've got people in the same building, especially if they're living with you, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how much more you can optimize around that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think it's like we're given such a great opportunity to live together in the Bay Area, like the best place to work on it. And our parents are all nearby too. Like we're all like a 15-minute drive from home. So we really have like both the family thing and the working collaboration thing, I think. So
yeah,
I think we might move to SF though, because we think like there is even more startup community there in the next couple months. So that might be something new we do. And I think like another big part of doing a startup is you need to have like a really good community near you, because it's such a like lonely or like fraught like journey in the cold if you don't have any community. So that's something that it would be nice. I mean, YC has been amazing for that, but to have that going forward, I think it'd be nice for us to be an SF.
yeah. We just had another guest on the podcast that was in the same building structure as OpenAI. They were a small company, but literally, like, the wall behind them was AI, and they saw Sam Altman walking in and out all the time. And it's a different structure of how they operate, and everything's tightly secured, and security guards the building and everything. So, but everyone, at least in that facility, were on site and in person. What's your thought about OpenAI as a company? And do you interact with them a lot? Do you have any relationships there? the technology you're using today, like anything that overlaps?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think they're a great company. Like they've enabled so many startups to create many new products for the world, and like that's undeniably like an amazing impact. I mean, and we have spoken to Sam Altman at YC. Like he's come to some events, and I think, um, yeah, yeah, the way that they're tackling it as like a hard tech research company, like they're definitely going to be like the pioneers of like intelligence, AGI, and I think they've opened up a bunch of new use cases for it, which it's up to startups to capture those. And yeah, it's definitely like we keep like a close relationship with them and with their technology because it's at the core of like this whole new wave of large language models, and like obviously there's a lot to learn from them, just about the technology and like where the core technology is going to evolve in the coming months. I think that's something that we will have to look to OpenAI for, because there are a lot of product innovations that we have to do, and a lot of like adjacent like core technologies such as like our voice layer or other integrations, and how to get those right. Like there are so many challenges around that, and the core part, I think we will learn a lot from OpenAI. So yeah, we
Yeah.
love hearing from them.
Yeah, really cool. You're very open about talking about your company and the product you're bringing into market, and I think that's the right way to do it. Some companies in AI are very closed off to wanting to share what they're building and how they're building it and the markets they're going into. What's the advantage of being very open-minded and sharing and communicating what you're working on? It's not quite, hitting the target for maybe the big audience you're looking for versus kind of holding it back and trying to kind of work in stealth mode.
Yeah, I really do believe in being open about your company when you're building it. Um, there are a lot of different reasons. I think, well, of course, you open yourself up to so many more opportunities to like learn from people and to help people. Like people will reach out for help as they hear about you, and they'll reach out with help and for help. And I think both of those are really important for the startup community. Like like I think when we start doing a startup, we always acknowledge at the beginning that this is going to be really tough road ahead, and we're going to need a lot of help, like to get to product market fit and to get to building a big company. And you just have to be really generous with giving to people, like wherever you can, because like that's the only way that you can make your own life work, is if you can get a lot of help from people like in the future. So that would be the main thing. And I think in general, like this is like a Paul Graham essay from a while back that I really liked, which is something like why it's safe to be like generous as a founder. And I think I really believe that even if like you're not a shrewd businessman and you don't like squeeze every dollar of price out of your customers, like what eventually will define you is your growth rate and how much your customers actually love your product. And like if you squeeze a little bit more price out of them, let's say that's like one way of being a shrewd businessman. I don't think that'll like make a huge difference. It's just like I think Paul Graham put it as like it is just a multiplier on like like your y-intercept, not like your slope, and your growth rate is what's going to define your company, and that's what you should focus on.
Yeah, that's great. Well, talking about price and talking about squeezing, your customers, if someone wanted to use Martin, how much does it cost? Where do they find it?
Yeah, so it's on the App Store for free. You can just search Martin AI, and it should be the first thing. It's a hexagon, and yeah, I think for very early stage startups, it's about figuring out what the right product is, and before you find like what is it exactly that people want, you don't need to like get all the price from them, but it is very helpful to charge people, and of course learn like where the need is. So that is something we're always working on, is figuring out what is like the eventual business model. Of course, like that's something you have to work on.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to try Martin. If you want to go to the website, is it trymartin.com?
Yeah, so you'll see a demo video and the links to the App Store there.
Okay, cool. And then I guess if you look at 2024, I know you're just getting into the market now. Just on the roadmap, anything exciting for you, what you're continuing to build that you can share?
Um, One exciting thing that we are exploring, which we're still like gauging interest from, is whether like developers want to integrate a Martin like voice AI into their own applications. So this is something that we've gotten a lot of people asking us about, but we're not sure if it's something that is like a big enough need. So this is something we'd love to get more feedback about. Um, but that'll be one thing coming up. Other than that, the consumer app, there are a lot of improvements that we're really excited about too.
Well, I'm definitely going to try it, and hopefully the data I talk about and share in there, hopefully it makes the LLM better for, I don't know, for me, for the company, for somebody. But I like the idea of the companion that can help, the daily things that, will make my life maybe easier, and notifications that'll remind me of things that I need to do, different tasks, and excited to share that feedback with you too. And also excited to see how things go with your company and check back in 6, 12 months and see the progress you've gained as you continue on your journey. As we wrap up here, Dawson, I want to thank you for your time of spending it with us and sharing your story, as well as all of our guests that are listening. And it means the world to me of spending your time with us today on this Monday morning. My name is Jake Aaron Villarreal. And as we continue to go down our journey of our podcast, look forward to catching up with everyone on the next episode. Until then, take care. Before we wrap up, I want to give a big shout out to all the entrepreneurs that have joined to make this podcast possible. And for all the listeners for listening. It means the world to me that you chose to spend your time with us today. I'm your host, Jake Aaron Villarreal, signing off for now, but can't wait to connect with you all soon on the next episode. Take care. This show is sponsored by Match Relevant, a company that helps venture-backed startups find the best people in the market, and they do it in 3 simple steps. First, they sit down with founders to understand their story. Second, they tell their story into multiple candidate channels. And third, they schedule interviews within 48 hours. Find us at matchrelevant.com to learn more about how we do it.